give Jasmine a hand for doing such a good job. All right, now the way this says is Siyaham et ku kanyen quin kos. 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 We are marching in the land of God. All right, so let's get out of the beat.
to you, look at them and say, Jesus sent me. Let me hear that. Said the Jesus. Lord the Jesus. So easy. So easy. Oh, oh, oh. So easy, so easy.
said we ought to rejoice. We ought to rejoice and be glad in it. Amen, amen, amen. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. I'm just honored to be able to stand before you. And before I get into the message, I just want to thank Pastor Rawls. And I want to thank the St. Paul family for giving me this opportunity to be able to stand before God's people and to be able to share a word. I just thank God for the opportunity to be able to stand before you in this space, in this moment. Now, for those of you who've been under Pastor Rawls' leadership, you know he doesn't take it lightly when he chooses who he wants to speak. Amen? 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 Not everybody gets an opportunity to stand in this pulpit. So I thank God that when he had to make a decision that on today, that he, about who was speaking for today, that he chose me. And you always have to wonder when people come in and they speak about the pastor, at pastor's appreciation, who would be the best person to do that? And I will tell y'all, we've been married for 19 years. And I knew this day was coming. Because who better to speak about the pastor than the pastor's wife? Amen, amen. So thank you, Pastor Rawls, for giving me this opportunity. And today, as you heard Reverend Battle say, today is about loving on our pastor. And he called me maybe about 2 weeks ago and said, hey, my dad called me up and he told me to watch this show called All Rise. And so he started watching this series of All Rise. And I admit I don't really get into TV shows that much, but when he has it on, I'll try to pick it up. But one of the things that I saw is that the judge was talking about her courtroom. And she called it her house. And this is, I guess, if we keep it in that context, in this church, it would be God's house, but he's given Pastor Rawls the authority to run this house. But sometimes people relinquish their power. Y'all know about relinquishing power? You give power to somebody else. And then when you give power to somebody else, you have to sit down. And then they step up. So today, Pastor Rawls is relinquishing a little power to me. And I'm going to use that power. As I was thinking about what I wanted to speak about and what God wanted to share, there are so many things. There are so many things. And as you will hear today, that anybody that's under his leadership knows that he equips us and he tries to prepare us so that if we are ever called on, that we can be ready to speak up for the Lord. But on today, this is all about him. And this message is about him. So I'm going to ask Pastor Rawls to step down so that I can see him. Let's give our pastor a hand. Amen, amen. The title of the message on today for our pastor appreciation service is Follow Me. The scripture text will come from 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1. And it says, follow my example as I follow the example of Christ. Amen. Would you all pray with me? Oh, Heavenly Father, I come before you right now, Lord. And I just ask that you would just be with me on this moment. Yes. Yeah. On this day, yes. In this moment, yes. In this space. Lord, I just thank you right now for everything that you are doing in this service right now. Yeah. Lord, I thank you for choosing me. Lord, I pray as I prepare to share a word that everything that I say will be edifying and uplifting. Lord, I pray right now less of me and more of you. Better yet, none of me and all of you. Lord, I thank you. I thank you. I yield right now as a living, holy sacrifice unto you. I'm a willing vessel. Use me, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. 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 Follow me as I follow Christ. Follow me as I follow Christ. Follow me as I follow Christ. I met Pastor Rawls in 1996 during my second year in law school. And 1 Corinthians 11 was a scripture that he quoted often. And although I heard those words, follow me as I follow Christ, I didn't understand the magnitude of the impact those words would have on my life. In fact, if truth be told, I wasn't the following type. I was always told, young people, y'all listen to me, I was always told that you strive to be a leader and not a follower. Y'all agree? In addition, and these are for my young women, at 25, after the things that I had experienced in my life, I really wasn't interested in following any man, especially one I barely knew. Amen? I admit, I had trust issues. I wasn't ready to relinquish control. And frankly, I just like knowing where I'm going before I get there. Amen? If you're trying to figure out what type of person I am, I'm the type of person that uses a GPS, but I look up the directions before I get on the road. I can't put my trust in a GPS. I like knowing where I'm going before I get there. Taking all of this into consideration, the words follow me at that time in my life were a lot to digest. In my mind, follow me meant leaving everything I knew. Follow me meant giving up some things that I enjoyed and I wasn't really ready to give up. Amen? Amen? Follow me meant letting go of some people who I didn't want to let go. Follow me was just packed with a whole lot of unknowns. Little did I know at that time that many people in the Bible had to struggle with these same words. In Matthew 19:21, Jesus said unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. In Matthew 4:18 through 20, while walking by the Sea of Galilee, Jesus saw two brothers, Simon and Andrew, his brother. Y'all know it, casting his net into a sea. And he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. In Matthew 19:21, Jesus said to a young man, if you want to be perfect, go sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. In Matthew 9:9, Jesus saw a man called Matthew sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, follow me. You see, those words were also spoken by Paul to the church of Corinth. However, to totally appreciate the words, you have to understand the context in which they were spoken and to whom they were spoken. Paul was speaking to a people who had a desire to develop a closer relationship with Christ. But they had a lot of questions about living a life that was pleasing to Christ. They had a lot of questions about how you live a life that's pleasing to Christ. Realizing this difficulty, Paul realizing the difficulty they were having in their attempt to live for Christ, Paul suggested that they just follow him. In essence, what he was saying to them, just follow me as I follow Christ. Watch me and do as I do. Now, for those of you who grew up during my generation, I used to hear things like, do as I say and not as I do. Watch me, but don't do what I do. But Paul said, watch me and do as I do. Paul was taking on a whole different level of responsibility. He was giving people a guarantee as it related to their salvation. Ministers, y'all got to get on this. People depend on ministers and what they say. And Paul said, watch me and do as I do. Like the Church of Corinth, when I met Pastor Rawls a few years ago, I was striving to develop a close relationship with Christ, but I was struggling. There were a lot of rules. If you try to read the Bible from beginning to end, there are a lot of rules. And I must admit, and that's probably why I'm in this position today as a judge, I'm a rule follower. And I try my best to follow the rules. I can't say that I always followed every rule. None of us have. All have fallen short. But I make it my business to try to follow the rules. But there were a lot of rules when I became exposed to this life as it was in that day for being a Christian. And I must say, I believe it's the same today for new Christians. There was a lot I didn't know. And at times, it was just hard to understand the King James Version. Y'all with me? And during that time, we didn't have smartphones that allowed us to skip back and forth. We didn't have these little tablets that I'm looking at right now and all the internet. We had to put little tabs on our Bible so we could flip through real quick, so we could get there and catch up with the pastor. But today, with a click of a button, you can get there. And you can go to translations like the New Living Translation, the Message Bible, all of those things to help you understand. But I didn't have that. I couldn't use my little thumb and click through to get to a version. So it was hard trying to figure this thing out. In addition, I didn't grow up in the church. I didn't have to go to church school, YPD meetings, Black Heritage, or Christian Education Congress. I didn't have the foundation that's provided to children who grow up in the church. We dressed up on Easter, and I remember taking pictures, but I don't recall going to church. I didn't even know at that time when I came into the fold, I didn't know the difference between Catholic, Baptist, Pentecostals, or AMEs. When I left Miami and I went to Gainesville, I had met Christ. And I wanted to continue to build that relationship. And my pastor at that time in Miami, the one thing that he imparted upon me is that if you don't do anything, you go to church. Because going to church is about the commitment, not about how you feel. That was huge for someone who didn't grow up in church. And so when I joined the AME church, I joined because they had a 7:50 a.m. service. And I was a first-year college student, and I wanted to maintain my relationship with God, but I also wanted to complete law school. And so that was the best I could do. However, the struggle to live a life that was pleasing to Christ was real. And Pastor Rawls, my young adult pastor at that time, like Paul, understood how difficult it was for young Christians to walk in the Word. Having the zeal and zest for fulfilling his call to ministry, Like a good shepherd, Pastor Rawls was willing to stand in the gap so that those entrusted to his care could reap the benefits of living a life that was pleasing to Christ. Like Paul, Pastor Rawls made us a guarantee as it related to our salvation. I didn't understand it then, but he was in essence saying, follow me as I follow Christ, and I'll show you. Watch me and do what I do. Follow me as I follow Christ, and I'll show you. He'll make you a lender and not a borrower. I'll show you. He'll give you strength when you are weak. I'll show you that he'll open doors that no man can close. I'll show you that he'll lead you through the valley of the shadow of death. I'll show you that he'll pour you out blessings that you don't have room enough to receive. I'll show you that he'll lift you up and he'll turn you around. I'll show you that he'll give you rewards if you diligently seek him. I'll show you that he's a way maker. He's a miracle worker. He's a promise keeper. He's a light in darkness. Jesus is whatever you need. And what he said is, follow me as I follow Christ, and you will be saved. Although I was resistant and hesitant, and I will tell you that I wasn't rebellious, but I just wasn't feeling that whole submission thing. And I kept intertwining follow me with submitting. And I wasn't really feeling that. I see some of my young ladies shaking their head. But although I was resistant and hesitant, I followed. And today, after following him for 23 years, I have no regrets. And I must admit, I'm all the better for it. Amen. Pastor Rawls, thank you. As a direct beneficiary of the wisdom that you have imparted in my life over the past 20 years, I have learned so much. I have developed into a strong woman of God. In fact, I attribute many of my successes and achievements to you. I'm walking in my purpose because of your unwavering support. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I can't tell the whole story today. Now, I don't even have time to give you an account of the many things that I have learned under your leadership. But I want to share a few things that I have learned with you, with the hope that you will have additional confirmation that your serving and the sacrifices that you have made have not been in vain. The vision of our ministry is to build upon the whole person by providing theologically sound biblical teaching. Y'all know it, effective worship, commitment to family, and an emphasis on understanding personal purpose. Today, when I reflect on the words, follow me as I follow Christ, in the context of the vision that you set for the St. Paul ministry, I hear you saying, follow me as I follow Christ, and I will show you theologically sound biblical teaching. 2 Timothy 2:15 says, study to show yourself approved, a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Pastor Rawls, let me start by saying this. You can preach. You can show enough preach. I have to give you your props. You can hoop with the best of them. And you're a master at coming up with catchy sermon titles. However, I don't follow you because you make me shout and feel good in the moment. In fact, if you ain't really saying the word and listen to the preachers, it's hard to get me to stand and shout. You got to say a word to get me to stand and shout. I follow you because you know how to rightly divide the word of truth.
Amen.
You provide theologically sound biblical teaching. That deserves a hand. If you preach it, it's going to be backed up or supported by scripture in the Bible. When I met you at Greater Bethel, even though you were 30 and you looked like you were 19, you didn't have a whole lot of size on you, but you had wisdom far beyond your years. It's evident when sitting under your teaching, especially in Bible study. You are a master teacher. I'm always in awe of the way you break down scriptures and how you show us, get this, how to apply it to our everyday life. But more than that, I'm challenged to study, to show myself approved. And I expect the same from others who are called to preach and teach. People come to church to receive a word that they can stand on, a word that they can bank on, a word that they can live on. And you have shown us as we followed you, that the power in the word comes when it is backed by theologically sound teaching. Follow me as I follow Christ. And I will show you effective worship. John 4:28 says, they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. From St. James in Chiefland, Bethel and Trenton, New Bethel and Jasper, and St. Paul in St. Augustine, you have made it a priority to make sure people experience worship. I agree, and I believe it's Pastor Winans when he says, I don't come to church for a concert. Sorry. I come for an experience. The singing might get me there, but I ultimately want to leave having had an experience with Christ. I come expecting to be changed. I don't want to leave the same way I came in. Under your leadership, I have seen you build ministries within this church and connect them together so that members have a full worship experience. You have shown us that effective worship is just not the preached word and the singing. An effective worship experience requires all of the members and ministries to do their part. You not only require us to do our part, but you're willing to show us what is expected. And let's park right here. For those of you who don't know, the choir that you saw this morning, is our youth ministry or our youth choir being revived. And as Pastor Rawls saw it dwindling, he stepped in. And he didn't leave it to the responsibility of somebody else. He said, I'll come in and I'll show you. I'll show you how to do this. So when we think about effective worship, we're thinking about members and ministries coming together. So when we come to church on Sunday, it's not just a responsibility, and we get it, Pastor Rawls, of the praise team, of the choir, of the ministers. But it starts when you walk through that door. The hospitality ministry has to greet people with a smile. The ushers have to be on the doors, making sure that order is kept in the service. The stewardess have to prepare this sanctuary so that the Spirit can be ushered in. The stewards have to make sure that things are financially sound so that we can keep the Lord's house in good condition, in good shape. But it doesn't stop there. Effective worship doesn't just end on Sunday morning. When people leave, they need something to happen during the week. So we have ministry leaders that are in place, that are ready to build our men's ministry, our women's ministry, our missionaries, our young people's division. We're all bringing it together so that people can have a full experience. And we learned it from you. You showed us. Follow me as I follow Christ, and I'll show you effective worship. Follow me as I follow Christ, and I'll show you commitment to family. Joshua 24:15 says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Amen. Throughout our marriage, you taught me how to make Christ the center of our family. All right. Over the years, you have demonstrated that serving the Lord doesn't mean neglecting your family. Amen, amen. Right on point, right on point. You have shown your commitment to family in so many ways. Taking on the responsibility of managing all the household bills when finances were tight, so your wife didn't have to feel the pressure associated with not having enough. That's commitment to family. Making sure you attended your children's sporting events, even though you had a demanding schedule as a pastor. That's commitment to family. Driving 1 hour and 45 minutes to and from St. Augustine so you can be with your wife each night since 2007. That's commitment to family. Resigning from boards and organizations to spend time with your grandchildren on Friday. That's commitment to family. Setting aside Labor Day weekend to spend quality time at a family retreat with your adult children and grandchildren and wife. That's commitment to family. Making sure your home is comfortable and welcoming, and that all the things that make it a place that's enjoyable and taken care of. That's commitment to family. Giving your family the assurance that we can call on you when life throws us a curveball. That's commitment to family. Being with your wife and her family through all the losses that they have had, and being willing to preach for family members you barely knew, so that your wife wouldn't have to take on that burden. That's commitment to family. Making sure that we invested in another home so that our children, if they ever needed it, would have a place to stay and call their own. That's commitment to family. Staying up all night to make sure that we're safe and protected and that no harm will come against us. That's commitment to family. Because of your commitment to family, we gladly serve the Lord. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Follow me as I follow Christ, and I will show you how to walk in personal purpose. Esther 4:14 says, perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this. On November 6, 2018, God changed the trajectory of my life. 50,799 people voted for me to be their judge in Alachua County. However, from the beginning of the campaign until election day, like a good shepherd, you left the 99 to be with the one. It was then and during that time that I saw intensity and intentionality at work. Intensity and intentionality at work. Knowing that I was built for this. Knowing that I was built to be a judge, you grabbed my hand and gave me the confidence to run. Who wouldn't appreciate a pastor like that? Watching you take on challenges and causes for which you have no personal gain, but doing what you believe is right in the sight of the Lord motivates me to walk in my purpose. You should know I don't take lightly the words that God gives you to speak to we, your people. And I hear you loud and clear every time you say, perhaps you were chosen. Perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this. In conclusion, Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it. Pastor Rawls, we are fortunate to have a pastor who has not only written the vision, but he preaches it and lives it. You have given us a foundation that we can stand on, and as we strive to live a life that is pleasing to God. We thank you. When it's all over and my time here on earth has come to an end, I just want the Lord to say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Thank you for extending me the invitation to follow you. In 1996, I was apprehensive about following you. But today, I'm so glad. In May of 2000, I was convicted by the words of Ruth, who spoke to Naomi when she decided to follow her. And today, as we appreciate you, I want you to know, wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. It is with pleasure I follow you. I love my pastor.